Well, thanks for staying with NDTV. You're watching India Global. I'm Arjun Samar Mahendran, and viewers, tonight Nepal is in turmoil. Let's begin with the headlines. Nepal's 36-hour revolution. Gen Z protesters set parliament building on fire. PM K.P. Sharma Oli forced to resign amid youth uprising. The search is on. Nepal president reportedly starts looking for new leader to lead Himalayan kingdom. As youth protesters storm houses and buildings, Kathmandu mayor appeals for calm. Amid Gen Z uprising, Air India cancels New Delhi-Kathmandu flights. And India issues advisory, shares emergency WhatsApp contact numbers helpline for Indian citizens. Number on your screens right now, +977 980 860 2811, +977 981 032 6134. Viewers, in an unprecedented show of anger and power, Gen Z protesters have brought the Nepali government to its knees, literally so. Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli has officially resigned just a few hours ago, following 2 days, or 36 hours as they're being called, of intense, often violent anti-corruption protests across the country. Oli's resignation came after protesters stormed key political homes and set his private residence in Bhaktapur on fire. In fact, crowds were seen celebrating as the flames lit up the skyline. In another shocking escalation, Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Bishnu Paudel was reportedly assaulted and stripped by demonstrators. Former Minister Ek Nath Dhakal faced the same humiliation. Meanwhile, former PM Sher Bahadur Deuba and his wife, Foreign Minister Arzu Rana Deuba, were attacked inside their Kathmandu homes. Both were allegedly held hostage and beaten as well. Videos circulating online show Deuba bleeding from his head. Now, as the chaos grew, the Nepali Army launched emergency helicopter evacuations for ministers. Military presence has been ramped up across the capital and Parliament is under heavy guard. Meanwhile, India has also reacted swiftly. The Ministry of External Affairs has issued a strong travel advisory asking Indian citizens to defer travel and those already in Nepal to stay indoors amid the clashes. Air India has also cancelled flights to and from Kathmandu amid a full airport shutdown. Meanwhile, the Embassy of India in Kathmandu has also issued emergency helpline numbers for Indian nationals facing danger. The trigger for this explosion, a generation fed up with corruption, sparked further by a now revoked social media ban that was in fact seen as a move to silence dissent. At least 19 people have been killed with over 400 others injured. Kathmandu's Mayor Balendra Shah has appealed to Gen Z protesters in the latest to now stand down. This is your time to lead, he said on Facebook, but not through discussion. Let's protect what's ours. Now, the resignation of Oli, viewers, has left a power vacuum. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel has accepted it and is in fact beginning consultations to form a new government. But the question remains, can order be finally restored in Nepal? For now, it looks like the country watches and waits, and so does the world. For more on this, my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul joins us straight from Simring, Kathmandu. Aditya, I hope you're safe first and foremost. And what's the latest you're picking up from the ground? Have things calmed down or are they still tense?
Well, Arjun, I'm standing just meters away from the Nepal Parliament. Twice I went inside and the visuals have been horrific. The entire Parliament has been gutted. There are emergency vehicles such as the fire brigade, the police anti-riot vehicles, the Nepal police vehicles. All of them have been completely destroyed and gutted completely. The fire is raging even now, hours after the Nepal parliament was breached and stormed by thousands of protesters. It's a new kind of a democracy, a new regime change that has happened here in Kathmandu, in Nepal. The youth are appealing and saying that there should not be violence anymore now that the Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli has resigned. But clearly, it does seem like that the fire that has raged inside the Nepal parliament is now going to other government buildings and establishments that are linked to the ministers of the K.P. Sharma Oli cabinet. A lot of ex-ministers, current ministers and leaders of the Communist Party coming under direct attack, physical assault of the youth protesters who are upset with the lavish life that they led, with economically not helping the population of Nepal, and in fact indulging allegedly in corruption. Apart from that, as of now on the streets of Kathmandu, especially in the areas around the Nepal parliament, there are thousands of people continuing to march to celebrate this victory that they say against K.P. Sharma Oli and against this kind of corruption. In fact, I spoke to some who said that we need a leader like Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India and not K.P. Sharma Oli. In fact, I went inside the parliament just a few minutes ago, and here's a report that I found.
This is history being shaped in front of our eyes. Dramatic visuals of the Nepalese parliament being completely gutted and burned right behind me. You can see my video journalist actually showing you visuals of this entire parliament complex burning right behind me. This is the seat of democracy. This is the reality that is shaping the Nepalese politics and Nepalese government right now. And the entire parliament burning has been burnt. This is the building of parliament that has been completely burnt right now. A thick ball of black smoke all across this entire region, and cheer and sloganeering against the Communist Party, against K.P. Sharma Oli, and for the corruption that the government allegedly has been alleged by the youth. Even as the Nepali youth have taken over the parliament and the entire parliament is gutted and burning, historic visuals, very unfortunate visuals really coming in, but there are still attempts at clashes. There is a group of policemen who have been cornered here by the group of violent protesters. You can see they've been cornered completely. They are trying to save their lives here, but they are being stone pelting is happening. The sticks are put on them and they are almost being lynched out here. You can see a group of policemen completely encircled by hundreds of security forces here, even though just meters away there are army personnel who are set up here. So that tells you the kind of chaos that is here outside the Nepal parliament, even as the parliament building itself is completely gutted. A group of policemen are being attacked because of the high-handedness they did yesterday. Their 90s innocent, were died. And of course, more than 500 innocent youth were injured as well. You can see these dramatic visuals of police being cornered out here, right outside the Nepal parliament, and clashes erupting, tempers really high, even as the clashes between protesters and police continue inside and outside the Nepal parliament. It was being said by the international media that it's about social media. But the reality of the matter is that the protesters are demanding action against corruption of the government. So what are your main demands? Who are the leaders of this protest really?
Can I speak in Hindi?
आप हिंदी में बोलिए बिल्कुल.
हम हिंदी थोड़ा थोड़ा आता है
जी.
कल हिंदी में गलत समाचार सुन रहा है
जी.
ये आंदोलन सोशल मीडिया के बंद के बाद नहीं है. ये तो करप्शन के लिए है. ऑल हिंदी मीडिया
उसके विरुद्ध में बोलने के लिए जो जेनजी युवा है ना, नेपाल के जो जेनजी युवा ने से इस देश के लिए, ये देश बचाने के लिए अब हम नहीं करते तो अब इस जन्म में अब कौन करेगा, ये समझ के आंदोलन किया है.
Youth are rising, they are demanding action and they are rising for their own rights. They are saying that this is a part of the democracy. They have a right of expression, they have a right of speaking up against those in power, and that's what they are trying to express. Even though there's violence, even though 19 innocent lives have been lost. Many dozens and dozens of others have been injured, some of them in critical condition in hospital. But the youth uprising here in Nepal only going further. Doesn't seem like there's an end to it anytime soon.
Meanwhile, we're getting breaking updates straight from Kathmandu, where the president now has in fact resigned. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel has officially resigned amid the ongoing violent Gen Z protests across the country. Now, very interestingly, his resignation comes just or within 2 hours after PM K.P. Sharma Oli stepped down earlier this afternoon. Now, the protests, which began Monday, have continued for 36 hours, with demonstrators storming and also setting fire to the Parliament House, as we've seen there on our screens. Our colleague Aditya Raj Kaul getting us the latest from Ground Zero in Kathmandu. Meanwhile, we're also hearing that PM K.P. Sharma Oli, the ex-PM K.P. Sharma Oli, has now in fact fled national capital Kathmandu, and the Nepal Army chief will shortly in fact be holding a public address. For more on this, we are joined by retired Major General Binod Basnayat. He joins us straight from Kathmandu. We're also joined by Rishi Gupta. He's the Assistant Director for the Asia Society Policy Institute here from New Delhi. And of course, we are joined by Mr. Ajay Bhadra Kanal. He's the Research Director at the Center for Social Innovation and Foreign Policy. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out the time and joining us on this special broadcast here on NDTV. First, Major General Basnayat, I'd like to come to you first. We just hearing that the President has also, in fact, stepped down, and the Army Chief will in fact hold a public, he'll address the public in a short while from now. Sir, what more can you tell you? What more can you tell us?
Okay, Bas, we have to understand firstly that this GNG protest was the largest peaceful protest in Nepal's history, whether we relate it to the Kot Parva in 1846 or the Jan Andolan 2-3 in 2006 or so with that background, we must understand that this is a protest. We can term it as the natural and unscripted uprising with the Himalayan pulse. So with that, now the country is in the constitutional crisis after the resignations of the Prime Minister. And I just came to know through you that the president also has resigned. So the country is in a constitutional crisis. So if you look at the background and see what is happening right now, the things happening right now is one is the political parties have stopped functioning temporarily, particularly particularly the main Nepali Congress, UML, and the Maoists, who have been very well targeted by the protesters.
Right.
Second, the law and order forces, credibility is diminishing. And third is the protest is getting wider participation. So the handling of the protest yesterday with force was a big mistake. But one thing we have to acknowledge is this peaceful protest, GNG-led protest, didn't come as a surprise. It was an ignorance by the political elites on identifying and acknowledging national security challenges that needed both political and security answers.
Right. Major General Basnayat, I'll take that across to, in fact, Mr. Bhadra Kanal, who's also joining us. Sir, how serious is this crisis for Nepal's democratic stability, in the bigger scheme of things?
I think this is unimaginable, unimaginable events are happening. Yesterday, it was supposed to be a very peaceful protest by the younger generation, Gen Z, and then unfortunate shooting by the state, a criminal act sort of spurred further anger and, sadness among the people, and it was widespread throughout the whole country. And from early this morning, we started seeing, the protesters getting more angry, and very unfortunate events, very anarchic riots taking place, people burning, institutions, people's houses. This is something that nobody had imagined would take place. But at the same time, the pent-up anger of the younger generation was sort of brewing up since the last 2-3 years. And I think something like this was bound to happen sooner or later. And I think we are in unprecedented political crisis. And I hope that, something positive will come out of this, despite all this, I think, anarchy and riots taking place. And I hope that the Nepali army, which is in control of the state right now, will talk and hold dialogue with the demonstrators, with the younger generation, with the civil society, and come up with a viable solution. I think at this state, we are in a severe constitutional and political crisis.
Severe constitutional and political crisis, says Mr. Kral. I'd like to get Mr. Gupta in this discussion. Now, Mr. Gupta, could this instability perhaps invite influence also from other foreign players, including China? Sir, please unmute yourself if you would.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks so much.
So I think Nepal is a landlocked country located between India and China. And certainly there have been times when some of these powers have tried taking advantage. But I think India has made its position very clear. From beginning itself, be it the democratic movement of 2006, India has been with the people of Nepal. It was even one of the facilitators of the peace process in Nepal. So I think if I look at India's position, it has already conveyed that it understands the situation there. At the same time, it also remains with the international norms that it will not intervene. At the same time, I think China had all the parties. If you look at the old guards there, be it the MLA, the party of Prime Minister Oli, or Nepali Congress, or Maoist Center, all these parties once in a while took advantage of the China factor. At the same time, China has been looking over the years, for some kind of advantage in Nepal for all strategic reasons. And I think this there cannot be any better opportunity than this. But I would certainly say that this is a very different generation. If they are very clear from their mindset that this generation is protesting against the menace of corruption, they are protesting against the censorship, they are also protesting against the old guards who have been in the power for so many years. In last 17 years, more than 12 prime ministers in Nepal. So if you count one prime minister each year,
right,
that's a lot. That's a political instability that has been constant factor in Nepalese politics. So I think there is an entire frustration going on. But when it comes to the foreign elements taking advantage of it, I think the younger generation will be really looking into that. And
Mr. Gupta, realistically, what options does the Nepali, the Nepali public really have? As you were mentioning, governments have constantly kept on changing. Either it's K.P. Oli Sharma's government, or is the Dal camp that comes into power, or we've also seen pro-monarchy protests. So is there any fourth democratic option where the public can actually back or rally behind?
I think that's $1 billion question. If there is a ready-made option available, look, even democracy evolves through a process. 17 years, the entire generation of Nepalese population felt there will be a change, but that change did not happen. I think what I see right now as a change would be that new guards will come into the power. There will be new opportunities for younger generation to lead the country. Not that this will be the first time. In the previous years, in the past as well, there have been new parties, new young generation leaders have come, but they could not make their mark, primarily because the older guards did not like their presence and they did not listen to what younger generation was saying finally. But I think there is a space for younger generation to take up this challenge of taking the country forward. We have a very similar situation with what happened in Bangladesh. The army chief
for the younger generation to take this forward. I would like to take that and the $1 million question to Mr. Pitambar Bhandari, who's also joining us. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time. Now, what options does the Nepali public really have? And added to that, how should India now respond to this unrest just across the border?
So now Nepal has entered into a political vacuum, and then there is a question whether the political actors now, who has very much less attention by the public, and also the space of power has been diminished at the condition. So in this case, whether the actors are more concerned, the state actors who have also been a form of politically injured, like all the three organs of the state, judiciary, executive, and then the legislative. All those, not only the infrastructure wise, but also towards the trust of the public, which have been eroded. So in this case, the major concern is restoration of the political and the constitutional order, which has already been a challenge for the actors themselves who had peacefully protested, and then suddenly yesterday it entered into a form of violent situation after the shooting of the young generations there in front of the parliamentary house. So now the options left. Only the thing is that few of the parliamentarians who have already resigned. Now, in this case, what would be the situation of the parliament in the beginning? This would be a huge question for almost all the political actors. Even for one of the strongest institutions is still left with some of the trust that the protesters have also shown recently by welcoming the tanks, the Nepal Army. So regarding the border issues and then Nepal-India relations in terms of the historical ties, we have been always observed that Nepal, India, the neighboring policy with the north and the south, it has been, always been democratically designed. So any of the disputes or any of the consents that both the countries have reached, they have a minimum fundamental understanding of the democratic values besides
That's right,
their
Mr.
historical
Bhandari,
cultural ties.
as you rightly mentioned, restoration of political will and restoration of faith and trust on not only the politics but also the constitution of the country is the need for an hour. I request you gentlemen to stick with us. We'll be right back, in fact, after this very short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching this special edition of India Global with me, Arjun Samir Mahindran, on NDTV World. There was my colleague Gargi Rawat spoke with Miss Nepal 2022, Sarisha Shrestha. Listen in.
We're now joined by Sarisha Shrestha, who is Miss Nepal 2022 from Kathmandu. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Sarisha. If you could quickly tell us what is it that you're hearing, what is happening, and tell us more about why the youth of Nepal are so angry.
Thank you so much for reaching out, NDTV, first of all. And I'm so glad that my video reached out to the international media and we could get some attention in this urgent matter, because a lot of chaotic situation is happening in the country right now. Yesterday, there was a very peaceful protest by the Gen Z in order to restore peace in the country against corruption. It was not an anti-social media ban protest, but rather an anti-corruption movement that was led by the Gen Z. And there were many students involved, but they were shot dead. More than 18 people lost their lives across the country. A lot of people were injured. Even the hospitals and residencies were stormed into and they were attacked. And right now I am in the area of Baneshwar Maitighar, where the major protests are happening. I'm here right now to get a good connectivity. So I'm a little away from the protest. I was there in the protest near the parliamentary building in the grounds since the morning. And there is a lot of chaos happening. The youths are really riled up, and the parliament is right now. There's fire going on. We're also hearing news that the ministers are fleeing away while the youths are on the streets just asking for their rights for a peaceful and better tomorrow.
That's right, Sarisha, and we've heard some of the protesters speaking to our reporters saying that this is not to do with the social media ban. I think there's some amount of resentment that is how it was portrayed, that this is to do with corruption. We've also seen that ministers' houses have been set on fire. Prime Minister's private residence has also been set on fire.
Yes, absolutely. This is an anti-corruption movement led by the Gen Z. I'd like to repeat that this is not regarding the social media ban. Yes, of course, it is there a little bit in the agenda, but the whole point is about the corruption, because people are frustrated with the systemic issues going on in the country, the oppression that has been going on from the government side, because this is going on for a lot of time. And with the social media ban, it was just the last straw which led to this, the ignition of this fire, and the youth had to come out because it was an oppression of our voices and choices as well. So this has been going on for a lot of time: corruption, nepotism, gatekeeping everywhere, and this was a voice against all of that.
That's right. Sarisha, now if the government wants to have a dialogue, who is the leadership? It's called the Gen Z protest, it's called the Gen Z, movement that is being led. But do you have any leaders there if the government wanted to have some sort of dialogue?
So this is supposed to be a faceless and a leadership movement led by all the youths of the country, and we don't have a particular leader in action, but a lot of people are urging our mayor of Kathmandu Metropolitan City, Balan Shah, to take the lead in this matter, and all the other youth activists and youth leaders to come forward in that matter. We just don't want the same corrupted politicians in the sphere again.
Just don't want the same corrupt politicians. That's the voice of Gen Z. We're getting you from Nepal's Kathmandu. Viewers, with that, it's time for a break. We'll be back with much more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching this special edition of India Global on NDTV World. And now we take you across to my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul, who's just outside the parliament in Kathmandu, getting us the latest from ground zero. Over to you, Aditya.
Fire inside the Nepal's parliament continues to rage. We are standing right inside the Nepal's parliament in Kathmandu, where the youth who are fighting their battle against corruption and against K.P. Sharma Oli, who has resigned now, are making sure that this is a victory for them. This is a victory for democracy. That's what they are saying. It's a youth uprising. You can see the kind of uprising that led to the gutting of these vehicles. These are, paramilitary police and army vehicles that are completely gutted inside the premises of, the Nepal parliament. This is a fire brigade. Apart from that, you can see, if I can take you through this building, this is the Nepal police mark that you can see. And a little further, if we go, we can see multiple vehicles completely charred, completely gutted here. These are exclusive visuals only coming to you on this ground report from NDTV minutes after the complete gutting of the Nepal parliament. You can see these visuals on your screen. My video journalist Prem Singh bringing you multiple vehicles of the police of Nepal, the paramilitary, the fire brigade, completely gutted. There is no scope that has left here. The fire brigade was here to douse the fire of the Nepal parliament, but not much success met. Imagine, the Nepal police fire brigade is still under fire here, even as NDTV continues to report and get you exclusive visuals from inside to let you know what the pulse of the people is. What is happening here is a youth uprising. On the other hand, you can see other vehicles that are completely shattered, completely gutted, who are lying on the streets inside the premises of the Nepal parliament. A little further, you can see this bus of the Nepal police that is still being, destroyed here. But the reality of the matter is that it's a victory for the youth, the victory for the people who really are demanding that justice should have been done. And K.P. Sharma Oli has resigned, and it's a victory for the people. People are marching inside. People, you can see hundreds and thousands of people who are actually all across the premises of the Nepal parliament. Imagine the kind of visuals that are coming on your screens inside the Nepal parliament. Thousands of youth have come together in this youth uprising for a complete regime change, for a complete democratic restoration of their rights. And they are saying that economically Nepal was weak. Otherwise Nepal had been very weak only because the Prime Minister and his people were having a lavish lifestyle, were having a VVIP lifestyle, but the common people in Nepal, the youth, were suffering continuously from the kind of policies that he had. And this is the latest that we are getting from the Nepal parliament, even as the fire rages inside. It's a victory for youth. It's a victory for the transition into democracy and against corruption that is eventually going to pave the path for a new government, for a new governance led by youth here in Nepal, for a new Nepal to be created, which actually gives them the basic rights that they demand for the people. Reporting from inside the Nepal Parliament in Kathmandu with video journalist Prem Singh, this is Aditya Raj Kaul for NDTV.
Well, that was our colleague Aditya Raj Kaul getting you the latest and the most accurate, fastest updates straight from ground zero in Kathmandu, right outside, in fact, the Nepalese parliament. And for more on this, we are joined by Himalayan Times correspondent Balkrishan Shah. Balkrishan, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us. My question to you, Balkrishan, what are the Gen Z protesters demanding now? The Prime Minister has resigned. We just heard news that the President has also resigned. What are the protesters asking for now, or rather demanding now? And is the army in total control or not?
Thank you, NDTV. So let me be very clear that this protest was completely against corruption, which you guys have highlighted. Very good. I think there were a lot of misinformation happening, several media. So this is the real thing that they completely went against. But the protest turned violent on Monday only. Police authorities, they just launched deadly attack on them. And due to that reason, 9 people, they lost their life. So that was the situation. And following that, today, whatever you see, whatever your journalist is showing from ground reporting is happening today. But this is there is no any update that, and I haven't seen any official notice that President of Nepal has resigned or even army has taken total control. So even in my, as per my sources and as per my information, I don't see, there has been no such kind of update so far.
Now, what about the army chief? What role is he playing, and will he at any point in time today, later today, address the protesters and the public? What are you picking up?
So, army chief and police and others, secretaries, they have issued an appeal letter to Gen Z protesters and everyone that they should solve this dispute and protest with political dialogue. So this is the official letter issued by army that states. So this is the update so far, and there for sure there will be, I think, some meetings, and this and that is the way to resolve this. Otherwise, I don't see there is any other kind of update.
Speaking of leaders, are the top leaders? We saw a lot of images come in of, in fact, protesters across Nepal, not only in Kathmandu, take it unto themselves to go and destroying leaders' homes. We also saw ministers being chased, their spouses being assaulted. Are the leaders safe? How many leaders are missing, if they are? What's the latest on that front you're picking up?
So yeah, it's completely true that leaders, they have been beaten brutally, they have been attacked, they have been chased, their houses have been burned, they have been taken out of their home. So these are completely visible in visuals also. These are all are there, that has happened. But it was a frustration in them, and that was completely, it was already, the campaign was launched against corruption, and social media ban triggered it. And yesterday, the killings of 9 youth, I mean, some of them, they were even school dress. Some of them, I was in the protest almost a day long, and I witnessed the almost everything, the way attacks and everything was happening there. So that infuriated them to do this all. So these are the major reasons, I would say, that they have done this. And yeah, these are true reality. They have destroyed, they have attacked leaders' houses, they have pelted stones, they have torched the houses of the even former prime minister's wife was burned. So these scenes are there.
Right. My last question to you, Balkrishna. We're running out of time here. Very, very quick answer. According to you, you've been covering internal politics for a long time there in Nepal, Rao. What was the reason behind PM Modi Sharma stepping down? Was it a political? Did he give up politically, or was it more of a strategic move? How do you see that resignation coming as?
So, as per my understanding, K.P. Sharma Oli is a very egoistic leader. I wouldn't say that he resigned on his own will, but because of the surging pressure. So, the death and everything and mounting pressure from everywhere, he was pressurized, and finally he resigned. Otherwise, he wouldn't have resigned. Even after the death of 19 people, youth, he had said that social media ban will not be lifted. We have been requesting them for a long time, until yesterday. But now, just few hours back, he resigned officially. So due to this mounting pressures and everything, and surging protest everywhere, K.P. Sharma Oli resigned. So this was the main reason, I would say.
Balkrishna, my last question actually, what are you picking up? Are you picking up anything on Indian nationals who are in Nepal currently, and any efforts by the Indian embassy, in fact, to warn the citizens and ask them to stay safe?
I think other than traditional leaders and other people, they are pretty much safe. There have been no casualties so far, I would say. They're not attacking or targeting any other nationals. So everything is good. I was in the field and I saw two Indian nationals. They were speaking in Punjabi. I could easily understand them. They were clicking pictures and everything. So it was completely under control and normal. They are not attacking anyone else. It's just they are just angry with these leaders and they just protested due to that only. So I think the message would be, it's better that you stay inside your hotel or wherever you are, your home. Even embassy and Indian government, as per their statements, that they have said that they are watching this protest closely and everything and development in Nepal.
No reports
so I would
of
just
harm to foreigners and including tourists and of course Indian nationals, informs us Himalayan Times correspondent Balkrishna Shah. Thank you so much once again for taking out the time, Balkrishna, and joining us on this special broadcast. Viewers, the streets of Kathmandu have for long now, 36 hours that is, become the center of a youth-led uprising. Now they're frustrated, fearless, and they were demanding a change. We get you the voices behind Nepal's Gen Z protests, what they are saying straight from ground zero. Listen in.
Corruption! We are fighting against corruption! This is the motto of our protest. Fighting against corruption! हत्यारा सरकार!
हामी जति सक्दो चाहिँ सहभागी भएर चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ यो संसद भवन घेरेर भए पनि यिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले हटाउनुपर्छ र हामीले यिनीहरूलाई युवा पुस्ताहरूले भएर चाहिँ यिनीहरूलाई एकदमै मिलेर जानुपर्छ। यिनीहरूले हामीले चाहिँ अत्याचारै गरिसक्यो। उत्तर कोरिया भन्दा नि बढी यिनीहरूको शासन चढिसक्यो। केपी जस्तो फटा मान्छे र नालायक सरकार चाहिँ यो देशमा कहिले पनि थिएन र आउँदा पनि नआओस्। त्यसकै लागि भनेर हामी चाहिँ यो आन्दोलनमा उभिएको हौं।
There you have the protesters. Now, the streets of Kathmandu have become the center of a youth-led uprising. Viewers, my colleague Stikta, they actually, as chaos, in fact, gripped Nepal, my colleague Sikta, they spoke exclusively with the country's former Chief Justice, taking stock of the parliament vandalism and what it means for Nepal's fragile rule of law. Here's more.
The protests of the young agitators are on the Kathmandu roads, and joining them is former Chief Justice of Nepal, Sushila Karki ji, who's with us right now. Justice Karki, the protest is on, the curfew is also on. There were several killed and many more injured. What do you think? Is government going on the right track?
The government persons who are they are allowed to do the legal work. This is a criminal work of government, I have seen in that this must not have to be yesterday, because neither Hitler did such kind of action in his time. Hitler had not put children on the gas chamber, nor our ex-ruler, Rana ruler have killed any child or hanged any child.
So you're saying the atrocities took place on the streets of Kathmandu yesterday, but the protesters here are saying it's not about the social media ban. It is about the corruption, the economic crisis of the country.
Everything. This is the movement we have felt. This is the movement against corruption. This is the movement against the ban. This is the movement of the monopoly of the government. This is the movement of the not applying the rule of law in this country. And each and every people who are fighting here, they are actually the children of those people who have gone out of the nation to work as a labor. And they are
earn a living abroad. It is the way forward because things are going out.
The thing is, this government should be collapsed.
They should step down. But who leads the country then?
The youth, new generation, youth.
But do they have leaders? Do they have people who can lead them?
Youth means not these are also. They are also below the 40s, below the 45s, and below the 50s.
The younger politicians should lead.
Yeah. They should lead, and they can do. These all are out of date. They have no any vision, no education. However, they have education, maybe certificate. but they does not seem they educated.
So you are equally disillusioned like these Gen Z and the young protesters?
Yeah.
You are equally disillusioned by the government?
Yeah, I support this movement because not yesterday, from today I am supporting this movement because they killed our children.
Viewers, Nepal's parliament in Kathmandu has been at the very focal point of these youth-led uprising, of the Gen Z 36-hour Gen Z revolution, as it's being called. My colleague Aditya Rajkal, in fact, gets us the latest from inside the Nepalese parliament after it was vandalized by youth protesters.
Nepal's parliament is burning. Nepal's parliament is completely gutted. Even as we witness this in front of our eyes, history actually witness here on NDTV. You can see right behind us, completely charred building of Nepal's parliament. Once a seat of democracy, once a seat of Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli and several other, parliamentarians who have come in here. And there are thousands of people who have converged here. But these are the visuals coming on your screen of Nepal's parliament, completely gutted, completely destroyed from inside, from outside. This is the result of alleged corruption that K.P. Sharma Oli and his government indulged in, which led to the seething anger among the youth of Nepal. Thousands of youth from different age groups came out from schools, from colleges, demanding his resignation, demanding that the corruption should end immediately here in Nepal and there should be a new reality of governance that should be created. You could see right behind me there are volunteers who are helping in this entire process, and you can see the entire graffiti that has been made as well. The graffiti out here against KP Chor.
200 cylinder inside the house. Please clear here. Please be back.
Okay,
Please.
so we have been told that there are cylinders inside, so we have to take precautions. People have been asked to move away. There are multiple cylinder blasts that are taking place inside, even as the entire area has been gutted at this stage. NDTV continues to bring you live reportage. If I can turn and show you the thousands of people who have converged here, it's almost a picnic for them. It's almost a sightseeing for them. It's a tourist location for youth who are witnessing history in front of their eyes. You can see thousands of people, thousands of youth of Nepal who have come together demanding justice and witnessing history in front of their eyes. We've seen this in several other countries, but in Nepal, it is the youth who have risen. They are not from a particular ideology. Their ideology is only the upliftment and the development of the youth in this entire process. So they're excited, they're happy. There are victory marches that are also being organized. A lot of Nepalese flags also in this entire process. You can see the Nepal flag out here. क्या खुश हैं आप जो हुआ?
बहुत खुश है आज. हम बहुत खुश है आज. आज का यहाँ पे सरकार गए ना.
K.P. Sharma Oli has fled to Dubai. That is the latest that's coming in. So people are very excited. They're holding the Nepal flag continuously. People are happy, excited. They're enjoying and they're celebrating this moment in history. They're trying to wave the national flag out here. You can see the thousands of people. So this is the reality of the celebrations that are coming in. People celebrating all across. People demanding justice, and they see that this is a victory for them. Completely, you can see the sea of people, a complete sea of people celebrating on the NDTV cameras live here inside the Nepal Parliament. An unprecedented development of 2 days long protest, deadly protest in which a lot of brutal force was used against the people, and now people here are celebrating and demanding that a new governance system which is against corruption should actually come back. Reporting from the Nepal Parliament for NDTV, this is Aditya Rajkal. Where I'm standing right now used to be once the entrance of the Nepal Parliament, but now it's completely gutted, it's completely destroyed. Just 2 days of resistance and uprising by the youth of Nepal has destroyed the complete Nepal Parliament. And this youth say is as a result of the corruption and the anti-youth policies of the K.P. Sharma Oli government. My video journalist showing you visuals of inside the parliament premises, which has been completely destroyed and is gutted and burning even now, hours after the ransacking and the burning of the Nepal parliament really happened. A symbolic step by the youth to display their anger, to display their rage, but also one big step to completely change the regime here in Nepal. K.P. Sharma Oli has not only resigned, he has fled Nepal as well in a helicopter and then taking a flight likely towards Dubai in UAE. But what will be the future of Nepal. How will the youth give a new leadership to Nepal is likely to be seen in the next few days. For now, the President of Nepal has accepted the resignation of the Prime Minister, and they are, in fact, looking at a transition of power so that democracy continues to flourish here in Nepal, and youth are continuing to celebrate here in Kathmandu, Nepal. Reporting from Kathmandu, inside the premises of the Nepal Parliament, this is Aditya Rajkol for NDTV.
We'll be right back after this short break. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching this special edition of India Global with me, Arjun Samar Mahendran. Viewers, now we move on to the most defining visuals of the 36-hour Gen Z revolution that has brought down the Nepalese government. First up, a massive security breach at Nepal's parliament complex. Protesters set the parliament building on fire. There, you see the visuals on your screen right now. Protesters scaled walls and pushed back barricades deployed for security. Now, this moments before, they also stormed the building. Its main gate was in fact set ablaze with plumes of smoke rising over the complex, as you see right there on your TV sets. Next up, dramatic visuals from Kathmandu were seen as protesters breached security, storming the residence of former Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli. We can clearly see the house being vandalized by scores of protesters there. Former PM K.P. Sharma Oli forced to flee as protests spiral out of control across Nepal. Oli was seen fleeing in a chopper right there on your screens, the visuals. Former Nepal PM Sher Bahadur Deuba and his spouse and current FM Arzu Rana Deuba were thrashed by furious protesters as anti-government anger explodes on the streets. We advise viewer discretion. Now, what began as a digital freedom protest has now spiraled into a full-blown political outrage across Nepal that has in fact engulfed not only the Nepalese government but all, with the president as well. We move on to a tense scene that unfolded as a group of protesters were seen brandishing guns that they in fact snatched from the Kathmandu police in broad daylight, raising slogans, waving weapons in the air, capturing the alarming intensity of Nepal's only and ever escalating unrest. On your screens right now, visuals of Nepal's largest shopping mall under attack. That's right, protesters targeted Bhaktapur, one of Nepal's largest shopping malls, amid rising unrest. We can see smoke billowing from shattered windows as anger spreads from street to commercial centers in capital Kathmandu. Flames also leapt into the sky in Nepal's Lalitpur district as protesters took to the streets. Now, what began as student demonstrations, peaceful at that, over unemployment and economic despair, spiraled into full-blown street rage with arson, stole painting and clashes with security forces, marking the second day of chaos. And viewers, amid the chaos and the violence, some are even demanding for a new leader in Nepal, a leader like India's PM Modi. Here's more.
Are here celebrating their victory. They're celebrating a victory against corruption, a victory against K.P. Sharma Oli, and a victory of resilience and the kind of support that they've got from thousands and thousands of youth of Nepal. अब जब K.P. Sharma Oli भाग गए हैं यहाँ से, आपको क्या लगता है किस तरीके का नेता यहाँ पर होना चाहिए?
मोदी जैसा यहाँ पे होना चाहिए. वो इंडिया का मोदी है ना, मोदी जैसा सरकार होता तो यहाँ पे पूरा थोड़ा कुछ आगे जाता. नेपाल भी कई देशों ने जान लेते. अब हमें केपी ओली नहीं चाहिए. वो उसने प्रधानमंत्री का वो रिजाइन दे दिया. यहाँ पे नहीं खुश नहीं है. यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं खुश है यहाँ का लड़का लोग उसको तो आज तो खुश है ये देखो शमशान भवन आग लगाए
Now on to visuals of the Nepal finance minister, in fact, being beaten up by the crowd. Again, we advise viewer discretion. Really disturbing visuals on the screen right now. Once again, for the viewers just joining in, disturbing visuals, we advise viewer discretion. And thanks for staying us through this special broadcast on India Global. This is Arjun Samar Mahindran. Have a wonderful evening.